I graduated from Berkeley in 2008, and I have the $80,000 in student loan debt to prove it.
Man, that's just depressing to hear that. I'm going to take a wild guess that you didn't get a job in the music business. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Friday time for SMG Viewers Comments. Just want to give you a heads up. We held over the Black Friday sale for this weekend over at Spectre Digital. Going to have some details on that in just a minute. But the show is not about me. It is about you and your comments and questions. So let's get right to it, shall we?
Desktop metal. Now that is a great subgenre name for all the drum sample bedroom guitar recorded music for everyone that thinks they're the next Polyphia or Animals as leaders.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far. Hey, here's the thing. There's nothing wrong with dreaming big. For some people, it actually happens. I mean, like, everybody in every fucking major metal band throughout the history of the genre probably started out as a kid in his bedroom fucking playing his guitar. No, it's great to aspire to that. It's great to want big things to happen. You've got to put the work in, obviously. And just the way how rent is going these days, I don't know how many people actually have the ability to, play with a live drummer anymore. It's fucking impossible to afford anywhere to live. Now, the dream used to be get a job, work hard, have a family, own a home, all that shit. Now it's like work hard and then meet up with 3 other people and maybe you can split the rent. So that's a great big shit sandwich that unfortunately a lot of young people are having to take a bite of. I'm not going to disparage people out there for sitting at their desktops writing music. Unfortunately, that's become the reality of the situation and there's just no way to get together and afford a rehearsal space for a lot of people anymore, much less a lot of the gear that they aspire to owning. No easy answer for that question, but I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts on where things are going. Very curious to hear that. Leave a comment below. Let's hear from you guys.
Did they pay you for this review? Because this is the worst kick I've ever heard from you, and I think it's the plugin's fault.
You're talking about the demo on the Waves SSL channel version 2, which I thought was an awesome plugin. We've got a slight difference of opinion on that.
Glad! I need more info on recording of that kick. That was a damn stellar sounding recording. Greetings from Finland.
Well, obviously you can't please everyone. That's one thing I learned a long time ago doing this show. Now, we did have a discussion about it on my Discord, and a couple guys said, hey, it sounds great, but something's a little weird with that kick. I don't like that kick. And I'm like, well, let's hear your recordings. Well, I can listen to this and have an opinion. I don't have to. Okay, relax. Okay, so you can't record drums. That's fine. You can say that. But we did actually wind up doing a little bit of a desktop breakdown on the Discord there with a few guys. We took a look at what was going on. Turns out I fucked something up with that SSL demo and I had the expander engaged. I thought the gate was turned off, but if you crank the expander knob up, it stays on. It's not a switchable thing. You actually have to turn that knob. I left it cranked up all the way, and because the attack and release settings were a little severe on that, I was inadvertently gating the kick twice. So that's what happened there. It was getting a little bit chopped off. That's why it sounded a little funky. We backed that off, kick roared delight. Everyone's like, oh, that sounds fucking great. So it's like, always try and learn something new every single day. Even if you've been making records for 30 some odd years, try and learn something new every day. And I learned a little something about the SSL channels. Watch out for that expander knob because it will fuck you. Regardless, I thought that Waves plugin sounded absolutely phenomenal, and the fact it was only $39 was great. Now, I don't know if that's going to be on sale all the time. People are like, oh, Waves has sales all the time. Yes, they do, but not on the same thing constantly. They're always changing. So, there might be some urgency there. There might not be. That's up to you. I thought it was a cool plugin, though, regardless. And no, they didn't sponsor that video. I do get a slight affiliate deal for that, but no, I'm not getting like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to do a plugin demo. I fucking wish.
Here's my theory on why many metal drummers neglect the rim shot. Blast beats. Not everybody can pull off the necessary dynamic adjustment in order to get the blast and the groove to a similar dynamic level. That's hard and takes lots of practice. I've seen lots of drummers live with a great groove played with a rim shot, and then as soon as the blast starts, their snare is almost gone. Ideally, you play a blast louder and your rim shot softer. Yes, softer rim shots are a great thing. Cheers from Vienna.
Oh, I've definitely seen that as well. I've gone to enough shows where, the band starts blasting and the snare just vanishes. Or they're playing Gravity Blast and that's like, super, super light on the snare and it just fucking vanishes. It's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, I get it, you're trying to show off how awesome you are, but if nobody can hear your fucking snare drum, what's the point?
A lot of extreme death metal drummers don't do the rim shot mainly because they want to maintain consistency between extreme speeds and the moderately paced stuff. That was something 66 Samus pointed out in a past video. Me, on the other hand, I love a good rimming, and I'll save the triggering purely for the extreme speeds with a sample of my own rim shot.
Of course, we're referencing the How to Record Heavy Drums series, the part 2 that I'm doing over the next several weeks with the Pearl Kit. Yeah, it's turning out pretty well. Rim shots are definitely a thing. And to the drummers who say, well, I don't play rim shots because I do blast beats. That is absolutely phenomenal drummer logic there. Let's have the snare sound like weak all the time instead of just 10% of the time when you're blasting. It's like, I think the first guy had a point. Maybe don't kill it on the rim shots, but you should be playing rim shots. That way your blasts sound a little bit louder. That might work. Or what I'd do in this case is I'd probably do 2 takes, one for the rim shots and then do another take with the blast beats and then kind of comp something together. That way you're still capturing a real performance. Because rim shots sound great, especially for metal, and drummers need to learn that. It's like, okay, we got to make the snare sound great for the most of the time. That's the most important thing. That's the thing you're hearing the most in your drums is that fucking snare. And if you make it sound weak, it's just gonna suck. And if you're going to take drum recording advice from Samus, just remember he's a drummer. He's a phenomenal drummer, but he is a drummer and not a recording engineer. So I would say maybe take the 2-take approach. One for the blasts, one for the rest of the playing, and try and get your drums to sound fucking amazing.
That contraption to limit the hat is ridiculous! There might be one drummer in 10 that has their kit set up to fit a mess like that in here. I'm all for rim shots and all metal drummers should do them, but that ridiculous device is laughable. So I get it now, this is a Husher ad. You earned my dislike. What a fucking sold out joke!
Oh, take your tampon out, Gabe. Holy fuck, relax. Now, for all you guys who are wondering what the fuck Gabe is PMSing over, he's talking about the HHHusher. This is a contraption you put on your hi-hat stand to kind of knock down some of the hat bleed into your snare mic. It's a recording device. Obviously, Gabe doesn't want anything near his hi-hat stand and, couldn't possibly, adjust his technique by a couple of millimeters to avoid hitting it. So he's very, very upset about that because he's using anger to cover up his own inadequacies. That's fine. We all do it. Get some fucking therapy, Gabe. I wish you the best of luck. Seriously, though, it's a really cool device. We used it in How to Record Heavy Drums. I thought it was a pretty cool idea. I just wanted to do like a fearless review on it. And they had some problems sourcing the parts when I ordered it, so they gave me a refund. They wound up sending me one like 6 months later or whatnot, and I finally got to put it on the show. And you know what? It actually works pretty fucking well and doesn't really interfere with the drummer. That kind of surprised me, honestly. But of course, if you're running a studio with a lot of drummers coming in and out, if you wind up throwing that on, you might get the occasional butthurt freakout, as evidenced by Gabe's comment. Those kind of drummers are the ultimate professionals and they're just super easy to work with in the studio. I really envy the guy who gets to record Gabe.
I always use this microphone in combination with a 57 or a 421. It can also sound good when with a U67 or a U87. A little tougher to get the phase correct with those microphones. I also flip the switch to the brighter setting every time.
Hey everybody, it's Jay Ruston. Now, Jay is an LA recording engineer, mix engineer. He did all the Steel Panther records. They sound absolutely phenomenal. Big fan of the sounds that Jay gets. He's also from the next town over from me. He's from Essex, Ontario. I'm in Tecumseh, and I was just in Essex yesterday, actually. Small fucking world. I got a chance to meet Jay backstage at Judas Priest there a couple of years ago. Great guy. And I heard he was using the Toll mic on guitars, so I thought it'd be really cool to check out. If you haven't seen that video, I'd really recommend it. It's a wonderful sounding microphone, and yeah, blends really nice with a 57 and just creates kind of a new dimension in guitar sound. It is definitely worth investigating. It is super cool. Yeah, I'm going to try it in conjunction with a condenser, and yes, I'm going to flip on that bright switch, see how that turns out as well. I really do appreciate the advice, Jay. You're always welcome on the show, man. It's always great to hear from you. Thanks for stopping by, dude. Hey everybody, just want to break in here for a second to let you know we've got the Back by Popular Demand sale going on over at Spectre Digital for you last couple of stragglers who didn't get in on the Black Friday deals. We've got discounts on Guitar Tone Mastery, Henning Pauly's Complete Guide to Drum Programming. We've got the Chernobyl bundle. We've got the Henning Pauly bundle. We've even got the Cock Blocker on sale. And yes, the SMG Ironic drums are on sale as well. So if you want to get some really amazing deals, head on over to spectredigital.com because we're just going to have the sale going on for the next 3 days. Then it is done. Now let's get to the Butthurt of the week.
Look no further. If anyone is in Professor Labar's class using informal logical fallacies, this is a great video showcasing convincing strategies and winning your opponent's debates by using classic straw man argument. I shared this in our Discord group, and Labar even used a Zoom meeting with the class, so thanks for the material. I also enjoy screaming makes every argument so much more convincing, as I'm sure that a lot of 50-plus live engineers watch this guy for pointer. I remember doing a gig in Manitoba. I was kindly reminded that I'm too big a doofus for using a Mac to trigger backing tracks. Also, I have a hot cup of Starbucks next to me, so I guess I'm triggered a natural reaction from your typical failed audio jack. But fear not, I did learn my lesson. I will take my thousands earned from selling my albums to people you know who still like to listen to something more than just a 15-second clip off TikTok and invest in something more stable like a self-help book about creating art in length and that is not defined by a YouTuber and maybe a bullet to blow my brains out if I ever have the misfortune of seeing your videos in my feed again.
Wow, did that ever take a while to say out loud? Dude, do you even listen to this stuff or read it before you hit send? Fuck! And I'm sure your debate professor is extremely impressed how you used ad hominems to attack my straw man. Great job, man. Love your logic. Now, here's something very interesting. I gotta say, if you're making thousands of dollars selling your own albums, that's fucking amazing, dude. What's even more impressive is that I clicked on your channel and you have absolutely no content whatsoever. So the fact that you're making thousands and thousands of dollars selling albums with no social media presence whatsoever, that's doubly impressive, man. Could you please leave another comment and explain to us how it's done like that? Because I'm sure we'd all love to learn. Please feel free.
Hey Glenn, I really like how this mix sounds. I've been following your channel for a couple years, but now this is the first time you lost me. We're mastering with Ultra Maximizer. Sorry, but you're not mastering here. You're leveling it to negative 14 lefts without making a clip, but that's not what mastering is. Sorry. Anyway, generally, I love your content, but I felt that could be misinforming a lot of people. Cheers.
Andre, what the fuck do you think mastering is? It's setting things to a fucking level. That's basically it, in a nutshell. We might be doing final EQ adjustments. What I didn't mention was I was using the Gulfos plugin on there as well, which is gonna get things into kind of that pro level EQ curve that we're all after, that I used to spend hours and hours and hours, burning test CDs, bringing them out to the car, burn test CD, bring it out to the car, check, and recheck, and recheck. Now I just throw Gulfos on and it kind of gets me exactly where I go. I use a technique known as top-down mastering. I've been using this since 2010. That's where we go through an SSL bus compressor, but we're also going through like an L1 and a LUFS meter to keep track of what the levels are. And for the last 4 or 5 months, I've been using Gulfos, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Here's the thing, they don't tell you what mastering engineers do. All mastering is if you're making a CD or a record or something like that, you're controlling the perceived volume level from one song to the next, so it seems consistent. That's the essential heart of mastering. That, and you're doing the heads and tails, maybe some of the fade outs and whatnot. Sequencing the songs, that's mastering as well. A lot of mastering engineers really got pissed off when companies started putting out plugins like the L1 and the L3, because their job was to make your mix louder, and you can easily do that at home these days. A good mastering engineer is going to run a certain EQ curve onto your mix to make sure it's going to translate onto smaller speakers, onto bigger speakers, that kind of thing. But as I said, Gulfos does a fantastic job of doing that as well. So my recommendation would be, do top-down mastering through Gulfos and save yourself a bloody fucking fortune.
It's amazing how people don't actually understand doing something scientific. I see it so much today, just how wrong people are when they talk about a scientific test or to do it themselves. Great work on both videos. As a student of the scientific method majority of my life, it does annoy me when people talk shit when in reality they're completely wrong and truly don't know what the fuck they're talking about. It's not like we don't teach kids, teenagers, and adults this over and over throughout their life, yet there are people who just erase it until they get butthurt when someone shows a test and the results aren't what they would expect. Tis.
Yeah, that's the thing I don't get it. When I did that tube test, some people are, oh, you didn't do a scientific test. I'm like, yes, I did. I applied the fucking scientific method. Dude, I learned this shit in 7th grade. Are you not fucking paying attention? What the fuck? It's like we do a test. We have a hypothesis, we test it, and then we record the results. That's fucking how it works. I'm sorry, the fucking tube test I did blew away your preconceptions. You gotta remember though, the one conclusion we came from that test is that tubes will affect amplitude. Some are a little hotter than others, some are gonna break up a little faster than others, but they are not equalizers. Tubes aren't bright and dark. That's not how it fucking works. When you hear a brighter tube or a darker tube, what you're hearing is a perception in volume, because then we get into the whole Fletcher-Munson curve. When we turn things up, things sound better. So, oh, I put a new tube in that's louder. Oh, it sounds brighter. No, it doesn't. It's just fucking louder, especially when you compare it with the same fucking recording. This is basic, observable, and repeatable results. That's fucking science. So I did the Tonewood shootout video as well, and kind of blew that one out of the water as well, especially especially when it comes to working with quote-unquote different tone woods on a guitar in a mix. Yeah, save your money. We are putting the tone wood thing to debate somewhere where quite a bit more physical force is involved, and that's where we're building 3 different guitar cabinets, one out of plywood, one out of MDF, and one out of particle board. And we're going to be using the same speakers and mic them up in the exact same way with the same mic, with the same performance, and see if we get any measurable results that way. Because ultimately, if you want to change your tone and have a massive shift in frequency response, you need to change your speaker. My question is, how much is that cabinet, if you use the same design, how much is the wood of the cabinet affecting the tone? So I've actually started scripting that, and I'm going down right through the scientific method. We're going with the hypothesis, the test, the results, the conclusion, all of that stuff. And we're going to lay this video out applying the scientific method step by step for all you guys who are saying, oh, you're not doing the science right. You're not doing the science right. No, we're going to do it right. And we're going to lay it out for you. And if you still don't like the results after that, then you can kiss science's ass.
Why would you listen to this guy? He's never made a hit record. All he's done is years and years of work with people that represent the vast majority, if not entirety, of the musicians 99.99% of us will be working with. It's not like he's giving us valuable information that we have no reason to dispute and can only help us in the long run or anything like that.
You know, I posted this up on Instagram and a lot of people freaked out. They didn't realize that was fucking sarcasm. Rudy, I really do appreciate the comment, and I got the sarcasm there. That was great. Yeah, that's my point. I've never done a hit record. That's fine. This show is for all the mere mortals out there who are going to be working with local bands and not full-time professionals. And this is about producing those kind of bands because you're going to run into a lot of the same issues. Most of those issues come down to bands not practicing enough and thinking they're ready for recording when they're not, and how to best deal with that sort of thing. Usually that involves kicking the bass player out and telling him to come back in 2 weeks when he's learned the fucking song. We usually had some pretty good results with that. But it sucks when the band has to travel 4 hours to get here and they haven't learned the material and think they're going to do it in the studio. That fucking pisses me off because it's wasting my time, it's wasting their time. And musicians need to have a little bit more self-respect, I think, especially when it comes to them spending money on the clock in the studio, because I've seen way too many of them just flush their money down the toilet for no fucking good reason. And it's all due to laziness.
I'm curious how this outboard setup works. I've never actually learned about how people actually set that kind of thing up. Are your settings on the gear being saved somewhere? How can you use a single EQ compressor for multiple tracks and have different EQ settings for each track?
Okay. Obviously, coming up from the DAW era of things, yeah, there's no saves for analog gear. What we do would be write down our settings for what song we use. It's a little more tedious, but that's how it works. I mean, like, how do you save settings? Well, you kind of figure out what piece of outboard gear works really well for a certain application, like, say, a compressor for a vocal or an EQ and compressor for a kick or a snare or something like that, and then you just buy multiple instances of that gear. In my case, I've got a couple of Trident 50B EQs and a Drummer DL241, and those are set for kick and snare, and I'll make slight adjustments from song to song, but they're generally set up the same way. I've got a couple of 1176s from Stam Audio, which are fucking amazing, and I've got them set up as a stereo room mic pair, and they just get left the same way, and then I run the signal through. Same with the Taylor Magnetismus. I'll make a couple of slight adjustments on that just to deal with the level coming in, but that's about it. It's all real subtle moves, but you basically have certain pieces of gear that sound great, and you just use them over and over and over again. That's how studios got their own signature sound, was they'd be using those pieces of gear, and because of manufacturing tolerances and whatnot, each piece of gear kind of sounds a little bit more unique. That was really the heart for a lot of mixed studio sounds for a very, very long time. And I'm doing a hybrid system here, and I'm using the Focusrite Red 16 line, and that's got 16 analog ins and outs. So those are going over to a patch bay, and then they get patched out to a lot of my outboard gear, and it's a whole fucking system to do that. But I gotta say, the Focusrite routing system is second to none. It's fucking spectacular. So glad I switched over, because it's an absolute dream to work with.
One thing I've found is that normal people, more often than not, will refuse to learn. They think it will destroy the magic. Whether it's music theory, singing lessons, or anything else that will take them from amateur to standard, they absolutely loathe the idea of improving their craft and will fight you tooth and nail for their right to suck.
Poe, thanks so much for sharing that observation. There's quite a bit of truth there, especially I found that comes along with a lot of vocalists. They will just refuse to take lessons for whatever reason. It's ego more than anything. And that just kind of blows me away. It's like, don't you want to get better?
About backups, why are you not saving to the cloud? In case of fire, theft, etc., your external drives are fucked. Upload once a week to iDrive. You need to have it off-site storage, not only for safekeeping and backup, but the ability to download or share it with others.
Actually, that's a fucking fantastic suggestion there, Marty B. I'm going to look into that and see what cloud storage would cost me, because I'm doing a lot of video work here, and yeah, backing it up on something other than my own physical drives might be worth the investment. I'm going to take a look at that. Thanks again, dude. Appreciate it.
I bought the clock blocker during the Black Friday sale, and I love it. One question about it, though, when I try to load presets, it mutes the track, and I have to remove the plugin and re-add it to my track to fix. Any ideas what the issue could be? It's fine if I don't load presets. It works great otherwise.
Yeah, that's kind of fucked up, man. I'm not sure what the DAW you are using is, so I can't really give you a good answer on that. I'd say this to anybody who's having any kind of issues with anything Spectre Digital related, is head on over to the Spectre Digital website, hit the support button, and open a ticket. That way we can keep track of it. Because if we have support issues coming in from like 80 different places, it's very hard to keep track of issues and get them resolved. So please, if you have any support issues, please head on over to spectredigital.com and ask there, open a ticket, and we will definitely check it out and see if we can get it resolved. Thanks so much. Oh yeah, by the way, get in on the Back by Popular Demand sale.
Now it's 6 years after you made this video. What camera are you using lately? I've been using an A7 with vintage glass, but I just bought an A7 III. Not crazy about it. Thinking about taking it back and either buying a used A7S because of the low light setter, or switching to Canon because the better looking skin tones.
Wow, did that video a number of years ago back when I was shooting with the Sony A7S. That's actually started out with a Blackmagic Pocket 16, then we went to the A7S, did that for a number of years. Then shot with the GH5 for about the last 4 or 5 years. Shot with the Blackmagic Pocket 4K about for the last year or so on Henning Pauly's recommendation. I still use the switcher, and I've still got one of them on the wall over there for my at the desk shots. But these days I'm shooting with a Panasonic S1H. I did a lot of research over the last year, and I was really looking at one of the Canons, either the R5 or the R6, but they've got overheating problems and a 30-minute time limit, no zebras, and no fucking shutter angle. Same with the fucking new Sonys. That blew me away. The A7S III and the FX3, I was really looking at one of those. No fucking shutter angle. Like, what the fuck is wrong with there, guys? It's supposed to be fucking cinema cameras. We want shutter angle. Panasonic actually checked all the boxes. And so I switched over to that a few weeks ago, and I absolutely fucking love this camera. It is the cleanest image I've ever seen. Blurs out the background real nice. Yeah, we're shooting full frame 4K video right now, and it's absolutely fucking spectacular. Shooting on vintage glass. I am using a Canon FD 50mm 1.8. And it's absolutely phenomenal. I'm shooting vlog in 10-bit, and it's the easiest log footage I've ever had to grade. It's simply a stunning camera. I'm completely blown away by it, and it's also a badass stills camera, and I can't wait to do a couple of photo sessions with it. Really happy with this thing, and I'm thinking maybe I'll get a couple of S5s for B and C cameras, just so we can get all the colors to match. I gotta say though, I'm pretty fucking blown away, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Panasonic really does make it easy for YouTubers and whatnot, because they put flip screens on it. The S1H has the best flip screen I've ever seen in my life, because it's also a tilter if you're a photographer. Phenomenal stuff. Oh yeah, and for some reason they dropped the price on the S1H as well, so you might want to take a look. The only caveat on the S1H is the autofocus sucks. So if you're doing cinematography work and you're manually focusing anyway, it doesn't really fucking matter. If you're doing run around stuff as a vlogger, might not be the best camera, because yeah, the autofocus sucks, and it weighs a metric ton, so there is that.
Do you know what you're talking about? 30 FPS is the standard for video. If you're talking about sporting events, you're clearly confusing 60 FPS for 30. Also, things don't get smoother as you increase frame rate. They get choppier. More motion blur equals smoother. Stick to music. You don't know what you're talking about.
Well, Christian, I'm gonna have to call you out on that, because I understand you might not like what I had to say about 24 frames per second versus 30 frames per second, but the ad hominems are not helping your argument. Here's the thing. I worked at Chrysler for 27 years. The last 4 of those years, I worked in a professional videographer setting for Chrysler. I did a lot of their safety and training videos for the Windsor plant, and I also wound up doing headshots for all of management. And the rest of Chrysler is like, wow, who's doing your videos and headshots, and could we get this guy? So, you know what? They might have trusted me that I knew what the fuck I was talking about. Here's something really fucking cool. Have you ever seen one of these? This is the new Suray anamorphic lens. This is 50mm full frame, 1.6 squeeze. And this thing is absolutely fucking badass. And I'm going to unbox this right after I'm done shooting this video and do a couple experiments with it, because I'm a total fucking anamorphic junkie. I have several fucking anamorphics, including a vintage Bolex 1.5 squeeze. I've got a Schneider 2-time squeeze, and an Isco as well, which is my absolute favorite. And I've also got a couple of 16mm 2-time squeeze lenses as well. I love the fact that these are becoming affordable now, because I want to start doing my show on anamorphic, because I just really like that look. But you are right, 30 frames per second is the standard for video, and video does tend to look a little bit shitty. Here was the thing, that was the thing on how to do guitar videos, and you want your guitar videos to look cinematic. You don't want them to look like a football game, and you don't want them to look like a video game. You want them to look like a fucking movie! That's why we shoot in 24 frames a second. The only time you want to go higher frame rate into 30, 60, and 120 is to do slow motion shots. You know, I checked out your channel, I checked out some of your drone footage, and it looked pretty fucking good, actually. I wish you'd make more. But clearly, you shot in a higher frame rate and then brought it down to 24 frames a second for the slow motion effect on a lot of your stuff. Your drone footage, it looked like it was put on a 24 frames per second timeline as well. So I'm not really sure why you're arguing with me there, and I'm not sure what all the ad hominems are. I mean, like, if I don't know what I'm doing when it comes to video, I think I've had some pretty good luck, because I'm 1,300 fucking videos into YouTube and got to shoot professionally for Chrysler. What the fuck do I know, though? All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for coming back week after week after week. Please leave a comment, because I do try and read every single one of them. And I'll see you guys back here next week. We're going to take a look at Nolly's Cali cabinet pack. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm also going to be looking at the worst guitar cabinet I can find, the cheapest guitar cabinet I can find, and see what happens if we upgrade it with some awesome speakers, and how much we can change the tone and how much we can make it kick ass. I think that's going to be a real cool episode as well. And please don't forget, we've got our Back by Popular Demand sale going on at Spectre Digital right now for the next couple of days for all you stragglers out there who didn't get Guitar Tone Mastered. If you want an awesome course for an awesome price, grab it now while you can. And until next time, I want to pass on a little bit of wisdom I read somewhere on Reddit. I didn't write this, I can't take credit for it, but I thought I'd pass this along because I thought this was really wise. Once upon a time, we had kingdoms that were run by kings. Then we had empires run by emperors. Now we have countries. I say that one more time. Let's do that one more time. A lot of bloopers in this one. Sorry. I'm going to have some details on that in a couple minutes, but this show's not about you. Fuck. Let's do that one more time. Shit. I sucked this morning. Okay. Just putting that out there. For all you guys are wondering, what the fuck is... Now, for all you guys who are wondering what Gabe is PMSing over... Yeah, fuck it. That was good. And not defined by a YouTuber, and maybe just a bullet to blow my